A green jacket and a grand slam, a moment unlike any other. This panel's take on McIlroy roaring into history. But for me, it's this, the heaving emotion of Rory McIlroy. He felt it, and through him, you feel it, and you feel yourself. I love everything about this. Let's go around the horn.
Okay. Lay out, Tim, lay out. Don't say anything, lay out.
We took out the stopwatch. It was 5 minutes and 5 seconds of just the cameras following Rory McIlroy. No talking, all sound was natural, and the emotion of the moment, ejecting from every breath and gasp and tear of Rory McIlroy and his family and that great crowd. That emotion conveyed to you at home, I bet you it did. It was picture perfect. How we got there. The greatest moment of his golfing life, he said, and the crown on his career, and the green jacket, and the 6th career Grand Slam in history was the lunacy of a final round unlike any other, with multiple blown leads and recoveries and pressure wrecking perfection and perfection wrecking pressure. But in the end, he made it all perfect, didn't it? He could have won without missing the putt at 18, but then would you have had the exact feeling afterwards? I don't know. Kevin Clark, around the horn to you. What did we just witness?
We witnessed the most dramatic golf round of my lifetime.
Okay.
I'm thinking.
Okay.
I wasn't around for Jack in '86, but on a single Sunday, I've never seen anything like this. Part of this is that Rory didn't exercise all of his demons. He still choked, but he still won the Masters and then choked up, as you said. So to me, I think this was so fascinating and showed every side of him. He spoke coming into this week, Tony, about how he felt he was holding back on the golf course, almost like a person in a relationship who didn't want to fall in love because they didn't want to get hurt. That, to me, was the human side of it. He has learned to be vulnerable on the golf course, and we saw that. We saw those emotions all of Sunday. Maybe it was too many emotions on some of those shots, but this, to me, is the start of something, not the end of something. I know that's crazy when it's something 35 major starts without a victory, second longest drought in the history of golf. I understand that sounds like lunacy, but he might go on a run here. Quail Hollow, he's won 4 times that. That's where next month's PGA is. Royal Portrush, where the British Open is, that's his home country. There's going to be a run here. He's going to be more comfortable. He's still one of the best golfers in the world. Again, this isn't Jack in '86. This isn't Tiger in 2019. He's going to go on an absolute tear.
Okay, that's a prediction from Kevin Clark, but the headline was even more so than Tiger in 19 or Jack in 86, a young Kevin Clark. This was the most memorable final round of golf you've seen at Augusta. Courtney Cronin, around the horn to you.
I wasn't old enough to watch Ben Hogan or anybody else like
No
Kevin Clark, but this was the most dramatic day that we saw at Augusta in our lifetime, more than Tiger in 2019. But like Tiger in 2019, most of us were rooting for Rory to just finish the job, to have more ups than downs on a day that was a complete roller coaster from start to finish. He starts the final round with a 2-shot lead and then squanders it on the first hole, and then to get back to a 4-shot lead on the back 9, and then say an amen at the corner. My goodness, Tony, that shot that he had with his wedge on 13, one of the worst shots you'll see from someone to actually win the Masters. It was the full Rory microcosm in the matter of 2 holes, from what he did on 13 to then put himself in position to go and finish out the stretch on 15. This was the Rory experience, and I'm with him because when he says, he asked the media a question after the final round, he says, what are we going to talk about next year? I don't know the answer to that because he was the biggest Masters liability. He had been here 17 times, had never been able to win it, had choked in the pairing that he had last year at the U.S. Open with Bryson DeChambeau. He got beat by 1 stroke, and then to outduel Bryson, who just did not have it at all yesterday, and then to beat the golfer who had the best round, especially on the back 9 in the playoff with Justin Rose. That's what made the victory all that much sweeter for Rory, to exercise these sports demons that have been over him.
All right, so another saying, it's as good as they've seen. Perhaps it's recency bias. We turn to Tim Calishaw. What did you just witness with Rory McIlroy?
Okay, as the only panelist who is old enough to remember seeing all these things that Courtney didn't see and Kevin didn't see and Clinton will tell us he didn't see in a minute. Yes, I saw those things, and yes, I saw Tiger beating Phil and Phil beating Tiger and some great endings at the Masters, but this was still one of the 5 best Masters Sundays I can remember in a long lifetime of golf viewing. It was the only way Rory could win it. Choke the lead away right away, get it back, put a ball in the water on 13 that he could take a bucket of balls and hit that pitch shot, and he would never put a ball in the water there. And do that and make a 7 on a hole where he should have made a 4, and then come back and still find a way to win it. And that 5 minutes you talked about loving so much, Tony, and it was great. One of the guys who's waiting up there, Shane Lowry. Okay, when the day started, his name's in that little box of the 5 people in the hunt. He shot 81 yesterday. He blew himself out of the tournament, and he is standing under that
for
tree,
his dear friend.
waiting for Rory, waiting to grab him by the face and give him that big hug. That's what Rory means to all the European players and really to all the PGA Tour players.
And Clinton Yates, what did you witness with this McIlroy win?
You know, what I did remember seeing as a younger man in terms of what golf was were moments that sometimes transcended just that sport. And that's what this got. This wasn't just good for Rory. This wasn't just good for golf. This was excellent for the sporting world. And that's something that sport has had some trouble getting back to, quite frankly, since Tiger left on these one-shot deals, even with tournaments like the Masters being the big deal that they are. And that's what impressed me the most. It felt like, oh, wow, people who otherwise probably don't care still are tuned in to see this human story, to see Rory do this and see the European very much do this. That grows the game. You got that commercial that drops immediately after the tournament from Nike where they're showing him growing up watching a guy like Tiger and what this looks like now for him to be able to tee off with him again for the sport who's gone through a lot of ups and downs headline-wise, and Rory was a guy that stuck with the PGA Tour. There was some sort of overall feeling of accomplishment that made you feel like the right guy did it the right way, and I hate to moralize like that, but that was very much a part of the story in terms of what I thought was attractive about it as a human and as a sports fan.
You talked about the questions he was getting about heartache and heartbreak, Kevin Clark. I think that's where he said it's like looking for love, falling in love. You learn to fall in love again. I think that's what he said. And you said it was almost too much emotion at times. No such thing as too much emotion, Kevin Clark. Absolutely not. I was thinking of, as we're watching, again, this is a man heaving and wailing with a camera 3 feet from his face for 5 minutes and 5 seconds. And people are like, this is a surreal thing to watch. And I think of the comedian Norm Macdonald, the late, great Norm Macdonald, who said, surreal isn't surreal. That's just real, right? We get so used to going through a motion of a routine or a habit. To see somebody in a moment that is completely real comes off as surreal for us. That was the realest thing on TV, and that's what live sports brings us. I thought it was phenomenal to watch. We'll move on to NBA now. Clippers 124, Golden State 119, and with that, the NBA playoffs are set. And looky what we got here. Dubs falling to the 7th seed and play-in with that overtime loss. That was not their stated goal. And the rest of the bracket before you, what are you circling? What's most intriguing in these first matchups, Clinton Yates?
Well, you know, I live here in Los Angeles, but I'm not going to go the way that you think regarding the purple and gold. For me, Nuggets Clippers is extremely enticing because people forget the Clippers are the hottest actual team in the NBA right now in terms of their streak going into the playoffs. They've got playoff experience at the coaching level. They've certainly got Kawhi, and the Nuggets, Lord knows what's going on with that operation because they just blew everything up, as we know full well from what happened last week. I am fascinated by how this is going to go, and my man Ivica Zubac, who, as far as I'm concerned, probably has a pretty good argument for Defensive Player of the Year. I love the way he plays the game as a big man, old school big man. He gets the ball in the paint, he dunks the basketball. I cannot wait to see what he does at this point of his career against a Nuggets team that is reeling as far as their leadership.
Tim Kalishaw, most intriguing matchup for you.
Well, I live in Dallas, which means I live in Los Angeles, which means it's all about the Lakers and Luka and what's going to happen there. That's all people care about here. And I can't think of a better place for them. They get Minnesota, a team Luka dismantled in 5 games in the conference finals a year ago. And then they probably get Houston, and no knock on them, but that's a young team that hasn't accomplished anything. So I think the Lakers have a great shot at getting to the conference finals in year 1 of Luka and LeBron. It's set up perfectly.
Gordon D. Cronin, most intriguing for you.
I'm leaning the way that Clinton is. This Clippers team is the hottest team in the Western Conference right now, the most dangerous team over the last 21 games. They have the #1 offense in the NBA. And what you're seeing is Kawhi he got the injury out of the way earlier in the season. That's usually what we talk about at this time of year. Can they outlast whatever Kawhi's dealing with? seemingly they don't have to. And watching him recapture that two-time finals MVP version of himself, seeing James Harden outduel the Golden State Warriors in overtime, hitting those two big threes yesterday, this is a team that no one wants to face. And on the other side of it, what do you get with the Nuggets? Yes, they won 3 games after firing Michael Malone, but are you really that confident in everybody except for Nikola Jokic? You can't play all 48 minutes, and Ivica Zubac is what Clinton's saying right now, averaging a double-double in the last 21 games, playing some pretty darn good basketball. I want to see him match up with Jokic.
A lot more Zubac talk than I thought was coming in our first-round preview. Kevin Clark, around the horn to you, please.
I'm not going to talk about the Orlando Magic. That's professional growth, although they are red hot and maybe they're getting healthy at the right time. But for me, it's the Lakers. You look at Luka and LeBron, they're averaging 59.3 points. That's the most by a duo heading into the postseason in 50 years when Tim Kalishaw first started watching golf. So for me, I'm just looking at that and saying, how far can this franchise go? I mean, Tim already mentioned if they get the Rockets in the second round, I mean, there's just so many numbers out there that suggest this is a team ready to make a run. I know
ready to make a run.
Shooting needs to get better, but I feel like this is going to be the most competitive team by a wide margin.
Ready to make a run, getting hot at the right time. How many more did I hear of those things? You guys realize this goes on for 2 months. Yeah, I mean, the run is a marathon. The heat needs to be at certain times, turned up, turned down, turned up again. Nobody mentioned the Clippers all regular season, and now, first round, I'm watching the Clippers. We're going to take a break here. Buy or sell is next. Schools and players are going through at the moment, but the details here have emerged, and this is what jumps out. The numbers of the NIL contract have been reported. $2.4 million per season initially agreed upon between the school and Nico, allegedly, wanting a raise to $4 million. Also, the heat of Volunteers head coach Josh Heupel's comments jump out at you. No one is bigger than the program. This program's been around a long time, will be around longer than I or the players. Nico redshirted his first year, 14 starts total, glimpses of promise, and a trip to the playoff field for the Vols this year, but no longer with the team. Kevin Clark, what do you buy, what do you sell?
I'm buying this is the system set up and everybody's doing the best they can. Here's the deal. Josh Heupel said nobody's bigger than the program. I guarantee you that if Nico was going to be the first overall pick next year and was a budding superstar and did everything the Tennessee Volunteers wanted out of a quarterback, they would have settled this behind closed doors months ago. I know this because a bunch of other schools do that every winter portal. They pay their quarterback more than they did the year before. This is a separate issue. Nico was not a $4 million quarterback given what the market is going to pay him. Okay, he's probably more in the $2-3 million range. We'll probably get that from another school. But here's the deal. The NCAA has set up a system where they can go their separate ways. There is no punishment. There is no incentive for a quarterback to honor their NIL deal. They're not employees. This is the mess that the NCAA has set up. Nico is not out of order. The whole system is out of order.
Courtney Cronin.
I'm buying that there's a good chance he's taking a pay cut. His market right now is not the same as it would have been in December when other teams were either paying their own quarterbacks or going into the portal to go get another quarterback. He and his team are playing a really dangerous game. Either they know they can go make $4 million somewhere else, or he's taking a gamble to leave and jump in the portal when the second window opens later this week. The silliest thing he could have done, Tony, was skipping practice on Friday, the day before Tennessee's spring game. Shouldn't you at least keep up the appearances that Tennessee's bidding for your services? If you didn't have your family or your advisors leveraging you out like that, you'd be in a much better situation if you're Nico Iamaleava, who now has to be at the beck and mercy maybe of a UCLA, a USC, or a few other teams that don't have a quarterback but see what another team wouldn't pay you, so why should they?
Tim Kalishaw.
I think this is much bigger than the NCAA. I just think it's a sad story. A few years ago, we're talking about should a Heisman winner like Johnny Manziel be able to make a few $1,000s signing autographs. We have very quickly got to the point where you can be a sophomore quarterback, unproven, and you're not happy with $2.4 million a year because you know of guys getting $3 million. That's a sad statement on human beings, and it's a terrible place for college football to be.
And Clinton Yates.
You know, I've known about Nico for a while. He's out here from Southern California, so his name has been in these circles for a long time in terms of potentially being good. But the operative word there is potential for me. I look at this from a development standpoint. Are you sure this is the right move to actually make you a better quarterback? I understand that the money is something, but if you've got aspirations to get to the NFL and you're already at a Tennessee team that you took pretty far, is the competition somehow going to get better for your circumstance when you're at another school after these kind of complaints and reputation things are out there? I just feel long-term for him specifically, this is a foolhardy maneuver in terms of all of it. I don't love it. The NCAA is one thing, Tennessee is another, and the money is a third. But for the quarterback, not sure this is the right decision.
Buy or sell to WNBA draft tonight. Top 15 in New York and doing the sights. And now T-minus 100 minutes or so. And the Dallas Wings on the clock. And we've got Tim Kalishaw in Dallas today. No suspense for number one with Paige Bueckers to Dallas, Tim. Do the Wings see Bueckers as an immediate franchise changer? And does a columnist in Texas see it that way? You, Tim?
Yes, they do. Yes, he does. Yes, he'll be in West Arlington tonight, where the team will play for 2 more years before actually moving to Dallas. The Wings have not been able to make any kind of footprint here at all in 10 years beyond a niche sport. One playoff series win. But Paige Bueckers, while she's not Caitlin Clark, she's whatever the level below Caitlin Clark in terms of appeal is, and a great player. And I think she will do a lot for the
Courtney
team
Cronin
in the sport.
She comes to Dallas at the perfect time to complete this overhaul. They've hired a new GM, a new head coach. They're moving to Dallas, to an arena that has 3,000 more seats, so more fans coming in 2 years. And on top of that, this team, coming off a 9-31 record last year, needs another star player to pair with Arike Ogunbowale. I'm with Tim. I don't know if she's at the Caitlin Clark level of intrigue just yet, but heck, her career, the people who have followed her, who have seen her from her triumph story at UConn, that's what Dallas is getting. And for the team that has the worst record in the WNBA, has the highest valuation of any WNBA franchise, this is a dream.
Yeah, I saw that the valuation. I know, Tim, what you were speaking of, their last 10 years, you used the word, did you say niche, as far as their imprint in the league and not being able to win playoff series. But there is promise here now to Kevin Clark on what you feel Bueckers can do for this franchise.
Yeah, first of all, Tim, I think that she's an absolute superstar. And if you see Nico Harrison tonight at the draft party, don't let him in the building. He's going to try to trade her to the Sparks immediately. But for me, no, I'm with Courtney on this one. Just the franchise and what we're going to see. We're talking about the sort of the broad health of the league. Another franchise like this in a huge market. They went up 40% in ticket revenue from 2023 to 2024. They expect another 50% jump this year. That's really good for the league. I think it's going to be a really great market. I think she's going to reinvigorate that.
Van Clinton Yates.
Yeah, I hate to say this. I think you guys are drastically underselling Paige Bueckers' appeal to a lot of people well outside of the Dallas market. I was saying this last week, number one overall in personality in her college's history as far as I'm concerned. And when she gets to the WNBA, it's about to be unleashed on the country. This is a huge deal for Dallas as far as I see
franchise
it.
changing.
That's going to be a major thing. Yes, franchise changing, culture changing. Forget about the basketball. Paige Bueckers' aura for days.
There's that sentence, and it even crept into here. You know, could she be the next Caitlin Clark? All these things doesn't need to be said. You can allow for somebody to be Caitlin Clark and somebody to be Paige Bueckers as well. And Clinton, very, very high. Tim Kalishaw. Plenty of time. You can leave early now for that draft party. I did you a solid here. Yeah. Thank you for your time as well. Yates, Clark, showdown next. Clinton Yates, Kevin Clark, good luck in Showdown. Showdown 1, news of the day from Phoenix. The Suns firing Mike Budenholzer after 1 season. Clinton, what is the state of the Sun?
The state of the Suns, Tony, is hot garbage. Top payroll in the league. Outside of the playoffs, don't have a lottery pick. GM on the way out as well. One might say, at this point, they are cursed. Potentially.
Kevin Clark?
Yeah, other than that, though, Clinton, what's the problem? No, here's the deal. $367 million, second biggest payroll in the history of the NBA, including luxury tax. This is, as Clinton said, hot garbage, awful franchise. 0 playoff wins from that big three. Awful state of the franchise.
$367 million and 393 million miles away. The Sun We'll split the point. We'll move on. You see? South Florida, Rice Baseball had a B delay. How do you solve a B delay? You get this guy. No protection, just beard and overalls. Grade this man. Grade his methods of beekeeping, Kevin.
He is from Beekeepers of Houston. I love everything about this guy, the overalls. This is not his first rodeo. It was a Rice USF game. I knew there were only 2 states that could be involved, Texas and Florida. That is a Texas man.
I would say B+ to stick with the theme, but it's obviously an A. And my man's name is Joseph Elam. He's 46 years old. This is called an Elam ending, kiddos. This is what we're looking for.
Whoa!
Big time.
Wow, Clinton Yates, it's so great to see you go into your current state of dad joke now that Keanu is 6 months old.
Doing my best.
Kevin Clark went wire to wire today and he earned this
Whoa!
FaceTime.
All right, so you're going to notice something when you go ahead and rewatch, and you will rewatch Masters Sunday. Everybody was living in the moment. Why was that happening? Because there were no phones. Augusta does not allow them for the patrons. So everybody was sitting there watching and talking to other people like a psychopath, like it's 1995. Here's my modest proposal, okay? Instead of having everybody have their phone up to take TikToks and all that stuff, no phone policy at championship events for as many events as can do it.
Oh, we're just
checking my
pulling it in
tweets.
right now.
Unbelievable.
Looks like I got robbed.
Sorry.
23.5 hour break. We'll see you tomorrow.